Good night, everybody. Good night, good night, good night, and welcome. How is everyone doing tonight? It is Monday, a beautiful Monday here in Toronto, and an even more spectacular Monday in Trinidad and Tobago, where my guest is streaming in from. Now, be sure now, I see everything is up and ready. Be sure to tell your friends and your family that we are ready to start on the Victory Speak show. It is time for a grown up conversation. And of course, you know I am starting tonight with some music by Calabash. No, I always tell you I don't have the rights to the music, but I do have permission to play the music from Calabash themselves. Now, if I get myself going, I'll just be dancing to the music and totally forget I have a show tonight. So I'm going to be good. Get comfy, get your nice drink, whether it's a water, whatever it is. Now, I'm warning you tonight. This is a masterclass. You are going to need a notepad, a pen, and paper because there is going to be lots of wisdom dropped tonight. This is when iron sharpens iron. And I say to all of you, I welcome you to the Victory Speaks Inspire Conversation show. When you have people in your life that just sharpen you, you have to just tune in. For those of you who don't know me, I am your host, Nicole Waldron, your voice of victory and your mental fitness coach. And I'm on a mission to inspire you to live a life of victory, a victorious lifestyle. And I believe we all need to mind our minds as we cultivate that victory mindset. And you know, we have many conversations all the time in our lives, good, bad, funny, you name it, we have it. And this is a place where I can share some of these inspired conversations with you from the various people that I have met recently, back in the day, and some people I have just met. Now, tonight's guest is one of these women I met. And I actually knew some of her family before I actually met her. It's so funny how the world is, how it's the 6 degrees of separation. Tonight is the third episode in the Trailblazers Legends in Our Time series. The first episode, for those of you who tuned in, and if you missed it, you got to go back to the replay. You got to go to YouTube and check it out. It highlighted the life of event planner and community leader Joan Pierre. And the second episode was with historian in Canada, Rosemary Sadlier. Now, tonight we're going to Trinidad and Tobago. I believe it is so important that we celebrate and acknowledge the leaders in our community and in our society now while they're here with us. We need to give them their flowers. You know, the American says, we need to give you your flowers. So tonight I'm giving another woman her flowers. In a few weeks, we are about to enter into the month where we celebrate mothers. So today, I bring to you a mother of 4 phenomenal women and a mother to many that have come to know her and meet her along the way. She's a wise woman who gives us daily inspiration through her interactions with the world on her social media channels and sound direction and inspirational words through her book. And she shares her journey, and she is so honest and she is down to earth. And you'll see that when you get to meet her. She is the author of Grown Up Conversations and has been featured as a local and international conferences and events. I mean, her words, her thoughts are so resounding, so sound. Her role as a counselor, advisor, and mentor has brought her fulfillment as she loves working with women. She has been a convener of a Boys and Girls Club, working with at-risk children, and her writings have inspired and encouraged many readers, which prompted her to publish her first book. Now, if you don't have it, I think by tonight you'll be ordering it. Now, she is an active online blogger and enjoys motivating others with her daily inspirations. June Doyle, my guest, is a wife and a mother of 4 adult daughters. She was born and raised in Trinidad and Tobago and has resided in Toronto for 3 decades. She grew up in a large family with a God-fearing mother who she credits her love and fear of God. Now, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the Victory Speaks show, Lady June Doyle. Yes, I'm just so excited If I could sing, I'd say, I'm so excited.
It's so
I just
exciting.
can't hide it. Welcome, everybody. Oh, I see everybody on there. Edda Marie is on there. Joan is on there. Christine Mitchell is on there. Wendy, Chrissy. Oh, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. Are you as excited as I am? I'm
I'm
excited.
so excited.
I think I'm excited and nervous. Okay. Now I like our together picture here, but I want them to see your full background. It's so beautiful. Look at her June Doyle books. Look at her. It's so pretty. Isn't she pretty?
It's called
Are
the
you,
island life.
you're making me want to move back home. I
It's
might
the
get a little
island
Trini
life.
tonight. I'm going to get a lot Trini tonight. Watch me. How are you doing, Joan?
Hi, Nicole. Thank you so very much for the invitation to host me in your spectacular show for women. Yay, Nicole! You are a winner. You're a superhero. You're a champion. I love you. I appreciate you just giving others the time to shine. You know, there's the quote say you don't lose anything by lighting someone else's candle. And certainly that is you. So I thank you so very much for lighting my candle tonight and just giving me time to shine on your program. You are a great host. You encourage people, you build them, you make everyone feel like they are worth, your presence. And I thank you so very much.
You listen, we can't start this show with me crying, We can't start this show with me crying. You're tipping me off, my.
Most of us will end
That
up
was good.
crying. But that's what it's all about. Like my blog today talk about team building, teamwork. Working together, you make the dream come to pass. And it happens with all of us. My finger can't say, well, I'm not shining tonight, or I'm not going to work because you didn't give me a show on your, a picture on your show tonight. So the whole thing is that you and I are doing team building. So we are encouraging other women and everyone, let's build each other up. The world has so many crises going on. The news is just such a sad place. And I'm really grateful to God that we can set the pace so that others can understand. There's no need to compete. Like, life is short. There are people that are going through really difficult things.
Yes.
And feel they cannot compete with us, we lose them. And none of us win if someone is way behind. So you and I can do, or anybody can do, let's always reach back and make sure no one is straddling behind. As you are, Nicole, you're a leader. I may be following close behind you, but when you're a leader, you can't always keep your eye on me. You have to look back to see who is behind you to help them come, forward. So I really pray that at the end of this evening, that we will encourage everybody to be more team builders and not competing or, shutting down, getting into our own little zone, Let's really make a show. Don't wait until somebody gets hurt, then to say, okay, I'm going to do a candlelight and I'm going to walk around with a placard. It's too late. So much for each other while we can.
See, now I warned you as we started this show, get your pen, get your paper. Listen, I didn't joke tonight, I pulled out my whole notepad. I brought up my Trini notepad, my Caribbean Airlines notepad with all the paper because I know I'm just going to be jotting down stuff at the side. If you guys see me disappear and leave her on the screen, it's because I'm writing my own notes. I'm just telling you.
Just together.
Right? And you know what, Ron? I'm just going to show you some of them. Look, already inspirational. Yes, she is.
Thank you.
Right? Chrissy, love this. Right? Look at Wendy. Hi, sweetie. They're all loving you tonight. They're all loving you tonight. This is. I know she doesn't like the limelight, but let me tell you, tonight we are going to shed some light on you because you are a phenomenal woman. You are a trailblazer. You are a legend. And I'm giving you your flowers. And you have started it off right, just inspiring us and not just motivating us, but giving no one will be left behind on this journey tonight. If you have not yet invited a friend, a family member, or somebody you think that needs a little uplifting, you know that you need to go and send some some shares because you can see the nuggets that are coming out already. And we're not what? We're what, 5 minutes in? We're not 10 minutes into the show. So buckle up, people. We're in for a beautiful ride. So, June, how are you? Like, how are you managing this pandemic, this COVID-19 crisis? Now, I know you're in Trinidad and Tobago, but what how are you see? That's the first part. You're in the right location. But how have you managed with what kind of mindset have you put yourself in to navigate through this?
You know, Nicole, as you said before, I live in both countries. For the last 30 years, my husband and I lived in Toronto. And the last 5 years, we've been in Trinidad, going back and forth. But since the COVID started, we are actually here in Trinidad. And God has been amazingly good to us. He's given us sunshine. He's given us palm trees. He's given us coconut water, Nicole. We got roti, yeah. So God has been super kind to us in making us get locked down on the island. I could not have asked God for a better place to be locked down. Trinidad is like every other part of the world. We are under strict, guidelines, and we wear our mask, and we don't go out unless we absolutely have to go. And we just enjoy life. We can go outside, sit at night, get the nice cool breeze, get rid of the ACs, no heater like in Toronto. I think that my kids are really jealousing their parents being here, but Trinidad has done us, God has done us well in placing us in Trinidad for the lockdown. I have published my first book during the COVID, and that has been the most amazing thing that has happened to me since COVID started. I never thought that I would have managed to see this dream. I had a date. And before I even had a publisher, I had a date that I wanted
Wow.
my book. And because I had a date, God knew that I had the dream, He know I had the goal, He know I had the inspiration, and He made it happen. He made it happen because I had a date. So you can, but I have a dream and you don't have a date for the dream to come to pass. We need a date. So I dated myself that I wanted to publish my book on my 65th birthday, which was June 26, 2020. So when everyone is retiring at age 65, I just got started.
You started.
And there I was promoting and launching my book in Trinidad, the land of my birth. And it was for my 65th birthday. And that was during the pandemic last year, June. So God has been tremendously good to me. It would be unkind and ungrateful to me to have anything that God didn't do for me during this pandemic.
Listen, I'm telling you, people, set a date for your vision. You set the date before you had a publisher, you had the vision, and you were intentional. And that's that's one of the things I talk about when you want to live a life of victory. You have to set the vision and be intentional. Okay, we're going in. So you have produced a book and hear this. She said at 65, new life, new beginnings. And some people think it's over. And it's funny. We're coming out of winter and going into spring. And people may think when they look at the trees outside, they think they're dead, but they are blooming. They're creating new life inside of them, about to give forth buds and fruit. And that is what you did in a time when people think it's dead and I'm bored and I'm zoomed out. You said, no, 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 no. Not this June. This June is going to come out fresh, strong, like a fresh vegetable. I'm telling you, you make me want to sing now. Oh my God. What did you learn about yourself in the pandemic? Because you brought up the book, so you must have learned some really key things about yourself.
I learned that you can bloom anywhere you are planted. COVID was a very difficult, it was new to us. We didn't know anything about living in a pandemic. We didn't know how to deal with life. Everything that we got used to became void. And the panic was heard throughout the world.
Yes.
Everywhere people were panicking. And what God taught me during the pandemic and last year was that here I am in Trinidad. I'm not going to gripe. Most of my things are in Toronto. So I was living half of my suitcase here and the rest of my personal stuff there. But God taught me how to manage environment, how to work the work. And don't complain and whine, oh, I wish I was in Toronto. You're not in Toronto. So
Yes.
let's it. You are in Trinidad. Let's make the most of it. And God has allowed me to bloom so much in Trinidad that if I was in Toronto, I would not have been who I am today. So I trusted God to keep me still in purpose, even though I thought that I should be in Toronto. God said, don't want you in Toronto at this time. I'm going to prove to you that I am God of the universe. It doesn't matter where Toronto is. It doesn't matter where Trinidad is. It doesn't matter where Grenada is. It doesn't matter where St. Vincent is. God is God. And He will make you blossom wherever you plant it.
Amen to that. Yes, 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 yes. So, June, what fills you up and brings you joy?
Writing. I love to write. And the reason why God gave me the gift of writing is because it's my way of expressing myself and getting involved in trying to help others and not living in a hammock swaying under a coconut tree by a seaside and enjoying my life. God has given me an opportunity to invest and to encourage others, to get them to know more about God, to get them to trust God. And the whole thing about me writing, it releases my anxiety, my stress, my emotions, and it guides me into being positive. So as a writer, I write all the time. If anybody ever wanted to know what I do all day, I write literally all day. And the good thing about learning to write or writing, the first draft you do, Nicole, is filled with emotions. Whatever has happened today, it is filled with emotion. But the editing is what takes up a lot of time. So before someone see my 5 minutes video, it takes me 5 weeks to write one 5 minutes video. Why?
Right.
Because God purifies the writing through the editing. So
Right.
everything that I thought, no, I want to hold it. God said, no, that's gone, that's gone, that's gone, that's gone. So by the time I make a 5 minutes video and everybody is liking it and everybody is commenting, they fail to realize that by the time they see that video, I'm on to the next week, and that gets me excited. And I love Facebook for that more than I like Instagram. Facebook, you get to communicate with people. I like conversations. Instagram, you post and press like, you're gone.
Yeah.
But Facebook, the people communicate with you. And at my age, I need communication. My whole life was raising four wonderful daughters. So at age 65, going on 66, communication is the key of my heart. So I really thank God for blessing me with the gift of writing. I'm not talking like you. You're a great conversationalist. I am not. Give me a pen and I'll write. I want to thank God for just gifting me with the power of writing. I love to write. I love to see God in my writing. I love to brag about Him. I love to brag about the fact He could take my lemons and make lemonade. He has taught me how to look a challenge in the eye and give it a wink. That's been my greatest joy.
Yes.
So I am the little girl that grew up, I'm grown up now. And when we were children, we thought like children, we behaved like children, we threw trauma like children. We just were so negative as children, but children are like that. They can't express themselves. So when you can't express yourself, you throw tantrums, you just cry over the milk being.
Yes.
But when you grow up, you get chance to clean milk up. The milk's still great. Okay, let's do something about it. So I don't like when grown-ups act like kids. We all have challenges. Let's work ourselves to get to the place where we take the lemons and we make lemonade. When we look at a challenge, we wink at it. We are not children anymore. We are grown-ups. So let's start acting like grown-ups and not children.
Well, people,
We can't change the fact that the man left. So what?
come on now. Come on now.
We can't change the fact that the child left home. We can't change the fact. So let's deal with it. It doesn't make sense pulling and crying and trying. And everybody asks you, how are you doing? Oh, I'm so sad the man left me.
Yep.
Oh,
Staying in victim mode. Yep.
you're
Yep.
not the
Yep.
first day the man left, and same time, God, he left. Let's grow up, do something about our life. Okay, Nicole, over to you now. Gone.
Watch it. Wendy, grown up conversations. That is what we are having tonight. If you can't handle the fire, you may not want to be in this kitchen tonight, because tonight we are having a truly grown up conversation. No, if you're feeling now, I know people may go into victim mode, but tonight we're going to take you up to out of victim mode, and you're going to go into victory mode. You're going to walk in victory. Listen, I might have to just have the June Doyle and Nicole Waldron show from now on, making you a consistent guest. I think I'm liking this kind of thing. Now, June, before I get into some other stuff here, because you're dropping it like it's hot, but you're looking so hot. I want to know where there are only two women really that I know that drop it like this. You and Joan Pierre. Where you get this love of fashion? Like, you telling me you 65, but
I'm 66, sweetheart. I passed
66. 66.
Thank
Listen,
you.
you slaying. You are slaying it. Where's this love of this fashion, this style? Where did you get this from?
I grew up in a large family, okay? My mom had 11 of us, and I am number 10. So my older sisters practiced dressing themselves on me. So I was the lucky one. Everybody bought things to me. Everybody dressed me. Everybody combed my hair. And so it came from my older siblings, And that's a good thing about being born in a large family. Like now, I can't see anybody having 11 children. But my mom did an amazing job with 11 children. We did have a father, but my mother was the pillar in the home. She was the one who taught us to love Jesus. She's the one where we sat at nights and we played games, and everything was so loving and kind. We didn't have TV, but yet we entertained each other. We played games. My mom taught me everything of who I am today. And I'm eternally grateful to my mom. When I hear young people crying, oh, I'm a single parent and I have 2 children, I have 4 children, I'm saying my mother raised 11 of us. And none of us went astray, thank God, So my mom did an amazing job with us. She made life, and we did not have TV. She made life interesting. We walked the nights holding hands, going for a walk in the night. I didn't know she was walking because we didn't have air conditioning unit. When the house gets hot, she made all of us feel so special by holding hands, putting on shoes, and we are walking. So you, as a single mom, you can make life so beautiful for your children. You will be so proud that your children rose up and blessed you, even though you were a single parent. My mom managed a home like a corporation. I don't remember stirring a pot. I got married and didn't even know how to cook. My husband me to cook, but my mom was a real superhero in my life, and I give her credit for who I am today, because this beauty will fade. One day, face is going to change. What I'm going to do when this face changes? Sit down and cry? Absolutely not. Because my beauty comes from inside. And inside, nobody could take it.
I love you, June Doyle. I love you. I love you. More and more and more. I love you. I love you. I love you. Well, people, welcome to the conversation. I'm talking to the supercalifragilistically June Doyle, looking good, sounding fabulous from the inside and out. And I love how you talked about your mom recognizing how to be creative. She didn't have air conditioning. She took you for a walk, but yet here was what caught me. She made you all hold hands, and that spoke of togetherness. That in itself is powerful. Tell me about growing up in Trinidad. Tell me about your younger years growing up in Trinidad.
Growing up in Trinidad was a treat for us, and every evening we did fun things in the garden, like in the yard. We would play hopscotch. We would perform concerts. It was a large family, so my mom was in the audience and we were the performers, and we cheered for each other. We never knew that we didn't have, because we were always so happy. No one knew, well, listen, there's no meat in the plate. We had different varieties of food that you didn't even miss meat. It's only when I became adult, I was like, hold on a minute. I don't remember eating steak, because steak was not something on the plate. But did I miss it? No. Would I eat it now? I can afford it? Yes. So growing up in the island was amazing. I am so grateful at age 66 to be back on the island. I love just seeing nature. I love seeing family life. We played hopscotch, we played skip. My sisters and my brothers were like really tough, to us. So we grew up like learning to defend. Jokes was terrible. You can't afford to sit down and cry in a family of 11. You will cry every night. So you have to enjoy and just smile and say, okay, that was a joke. I got to deal with it. But I would not trade my life for any place else but being in Trinidad. I love Trinidad.
I love it, and I love how you talk about your mom. You know, and you mentioned her in the beginning of your book, and um, you said she was your hero. Why was your mom your hero, June?
Because she trusted God even when she couldn't trace him. To have,
Whoa!
yeah, to
Wait, wait,
have
wait,
11.
wait, 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 wait. I might drop the mic. She trusted God even when she couldn't trace him. Somebody put that in the chat for me, please. Somebody put that in the chat. Go ahead.
Yeah, raising 11 children, I sure that she didn't have it easy, but she made it work. And even in my life, I cannot tell you that I ever saw her in a crisis mode. She always calm, and I'm not joking. She was always had a very confident, quiet personality, unlike me. I think I took after my dad, but my mom was quiet. And I just really thank God for just helping her to be such a role model for me, to make me who I am today. And I was able to pass that on to my four girls. And I'm seeing it now in display with my other kids. And I'm saying, God, you are so amazing. When I see my grandkids and they can tell me about God and they can testify and say, Grandma, last week Wednesday, so and so happened, and Mom taught me about Jesus. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the best thing in the whole world. Because you know what? Eventually, we may lose every material thing we work hard
Mm.
for, but we will never lose Jesus. So
Amen.
he's the best thing to have in your back pocket, because anybody could break into my home and steal everything. My house could burn down. I can lose my entire family, but if I have God, I still have everything.
Now, you see, here's the thing. This is why people think you're a preacher. And even though you're not a preacher, right? You're not a preacher, but this is why, because you're such a natural teacher, right? You're a rabbi. You really are a rabbi. You know, I remember Dr. Miles Monroe would say, don't, and I remember meeting him in the Bahamas, and he said, don't motivate, inspire. Because when you inspire somebody, it's different than when you motivate somebody. June Doyle, drop the mic. Now, your mom, your hero, how did she shape you as a woman, as a mom?
She taught me to be tough without telling me a word. She didn't tell me anything. I just looked at her and observed her. She was quiet but strong. She was She was humble. Her best friend, up to this day, I still don't know if her best friend could have read or write, but she was a businesswoman. And my mom would take us there on evenings. The kids would play outside, and my mom would be inside reading her letters for this businesswoman, writing the responses and mailing the letters for on behalf of my mom's friend. And I learned that in life, you're never too low to reach up and help someone, and you're never too high to reach down and help someone. There's always someone in your circle that you can make a difference.
You see, I see why she is your shiro. Because so many things you refer to, and I remember as I was reading the book, you spoke about the importance of laughter. What she made laughter very important. Why do you find that
My mom
important?
loved to laugh. My mom used to clap when she laughed. And she would hold her head and bend down and laugh. And I think I got that from her. I would clap every time I get a good joke.
You do, you do, you do, you
Yeah,
do.
I love laughing too. And my first daughter, she is a comedian by herself. I mean, she has cracked the glass ceiling. She has a major job, and but yet she's such a funny girl when you get around her. She just makes me laugh all the time. That's my comedian. So I really thank God for the gift of laughter. Laughter keeps you young. You know, I get concerned with people who like my blogs Monday to Thursday and Friday they disappear. I get really concerned because laughter keeps you young. Laughter makes you forget what happened during the week. We must take time to laugh.
See, listen, y'all live and on the replay, laughter keeps you young. Now, if you're now tuning in, if you don't know by now, I am with the phenomenal June Doyle. The comments are coming in. I can't even keep up with the comments. They are so great. People are enjoying this conversation. June, as I said, you are fabulous. Laughter keeps you young. I just love everybody who's just dropping the gems, actually repeating what you say. Um, um, just now, I told her that she said, no, she's not preaching. Love that. Don't motivate, inspire. Listen, we are going to get into some more here. Now, how would you say, I love this. Chrissy just said, my mom does the same thing. Ha ha ha. Yeah, your mom does the same thing, Chrissy. And the part where you talked about laughter keeps you young. It is so important. And it doesn't just also keep you young. And when we get to have this important conversation with your daughter, in the next week or so. Yes, her daughter's coming on the show. One of them. I may need to get all of them, but one of them is coming on. It helps your mental health. It helps your brain when you laugh. Laughter is the key to life. That's why it can keep you young. Now, as we talk about laughter and raising children and being a mother, if you were to just reflect on your mom just one more time, because I just love how you talk about your mom. And let me tell you, for those of you who don't have the book, this is just in the first chapter. We're not even done in all the other chapters yet. We still in the first chapter of the book. How has she shaped you? How has she helped you to be a mom, to be a wife?
My mom was a nurse before she got married. Back in the days, she could not hold her career if she wanted to have a family or even get married. So she gave up her nursing career back in the days, in the early 40s, I guess, and she started to raise her children. And there wasn't a day I remember that I did not see my mom. My mom was always there for us. We got home from school and mom was there. And raising my children, I chose not to work. I chose to stay home and be a mother to my children. My children were my medals. My children were my trophies. And I literally give my life up for them. And when they all left home in 2014, that's when I became June Doyle. I was no longer mom, mommy, grandma. I became June Doyle. So during the times of my first 44 years, 41 years of marriage, I
Wow.
was a mother, period. And I totally enjoyed it. Totally enjoyed it. My husband was busy with his career and studying to do better and things like that. I drove a car, dropped them to school, drop one for lessons, pick up this one, do this. I made all, the only thing I didn't do was to go to football games. But I literally was a mom on the go.
Yes.
And I enjoyed it tremendously. I love all my children passionately. I'm a mama bear. If I fight with my kids, make sure nobody out there is fighting with them. Okay? I fight with them. And I am a great mother. If I die today, I know I did my best. My kids
Yes.
were amazing kids. And I really thank God for the opportunity I had to raise four wonderful girls. There's always one to give you a challenge, but that's all right. Through the challenge, I became stronger. And now I can look every challenge and give it a wink because I know I will come out of it.
Yes, yes, I'm snapping my fingers. I'm snapping my fingers. Now, there's a quote in your book that says the highest form of knowledge is empathy. How did your mom show that?
My mom always made sure there was enough for anyone if they dropped by.
Mm.
I remembered her brother would come to see us with his four kids and his wife, and still there was enough room on the bed. There was enough food on the table. There was enough laughter to spread around. And it just showed you that there was never little when my mom was in our life. She just had so much empathy and kindness for others that she taught us to be empathetic, to be kind, to be gracious to people, love everybody. You would never know how the custodian became a custodian. Perhaps he was once the prime minister. Life hits all of us differently. And through mom, I've learned to respect everyone. If you ever saw me on Facebook, I tell everybody I love them. I don't know them, but I mean it
You.
because they are a human being.
Yes,
You
yes.
never know what anybody is going through. This might be your only time to tell somebody, I love you. And that person walked away thinking, I love this lady because she loved me. I want to do X, Y, and Z. So, regardless of what, it takes nothing to tell somebody, I love you. There are so many people who follow me, and I never see what they look like. I never see a comment, but that's okay. They are
Yes.
following because they are feeling something out of you that is giving them life. We don't see the oxygen, but we know there's oxygen, and we are living because we are not seeing the oxygen still. So we have to be that oxygen that we are sending signals to people. Listen, I'm a human being like you. We'll hold hands and get across the bridge.
Yes, yes, yes. And this topic of love here for me is big. And I'm just going to pop up some of the quotes here. Yes, I love it. Sing I love you with meaning can mean so much to someone. And also the fact that you never know that you might be the one who's ever told them they love them. Some people have never been told that they are loved. And to hear it and to hear it with care because the it comes through what you say. It comes from the heart. And when you really tell people you love them, even on a video that people have never met you, they hear your heart. And that's one of the things that people hear is your heart. And now as we speak about love, you mentioned a young man that you married. I just want to get in. I just want to get in your business a little bit. Come closer. For those of you, this is just us. This is just us. Tell us about the love story. What's the love story of you and Mr. Edison Doyle? How did you meet Mr. Edison Doyle?
Oh boy, I hope he's not online. Are you seeing him online?
No, I'm not seeing him, but he could be hiding.
This years, 48 years now that we have been married,
Wow.
married right out of high school. He could not wait. So we got married right out of high school, and God has been faithful to us. We've been through it all, but we had vows, and the vows went like for better or for worse, for sickness and health, death do us part, and God has proven Himself tremendously in our life. Every when I met Edison, we were still in school, so every degree Edison has gotten, he has gotten it while married. And
Wow.
I'm very grateful for, because most people marry somebody because of their degree. We marry straight out of high school. And today he has all the letters behind his name, at least 26, together. So those letters mean nothing to me besides I am Mrs. June Doyle.
I love it. I love it. And what tips do you have? Because you did speak about love and relationships in your book, and you were very specific, giving words to young women in particular. Let me see if I find that one. I mean, it was so. Listen, let me tell you. If you see my book, nobody should look at my book right now because it have dog ears. But I should have really highlighted that one with relationships because you were really. It was in the beginning of the book. Finding a
Can you
suitable
hear it?
mate. Yes, page 18. Finding a suitable mate.
Maria,
Um,
Nicole, can we do page 12?
Page
Nicole?
12, okay. Page 12, sure, we can do any, it's your show, I just hear. But we're talking about relationships first. We're talking about relationships first. I want to give them some tips about relationships before we go to stop, look, and listen. Because
Okay, you want to do relationship
I
first?
want to do relationships first because we're talking about you and Edison. And there's some women on here that are single. There are women on here that are married. And listen, during COVID, what has happened is many people are having trouble in their marriages. Marriages are falling apart. People are getting divorced. They say the divorce rate has skyrocketed. The other thing that has happened in COVID is that abuse has happened, physical abuse and mental abuse. And so I think you had some really good keys. And I should have highlighted it better because in that part here where you talked about, you know, it was not, wait, let me find it here. Anyone who chooses to wait on God is wiser than someone who falls in love just because they are lonely. Let me tell you. I just closed the book at that point and I walked away from it. Both my husband and I have had many learning curves along the way, but by the grace of God, we made it, and His grace towards us was not in vain. We have fought a good fight and kept the faith. Relationships is a learning process. We learn to disagree and make sacrifices, and we learn how to overlook some things for the betterment of our marriage. No one is running off to solitary confinement. Marriage is for grown-ups. Listen here. People, did you hear that? This is on, and if you have the book and you haven't read this page 19, marriage is for grown-ups.
It's for boys.
Talk about it, June. Talk about if there's any
All
tips for
right.
anyone who is married right
Too
now.
many, yeah, too many times people get married because they love the person and they're lonely. Loneliness is your biggest enemy. Loneliness is a killer. Loneliness is not something that you should play around with lightly. What marriage is ready for grown-ups. You can't fight every battle. You must pick your battles, choose your battles wisely, and allow God, who is the foundation of life, to give you that strength to make it. No, excuse me, no family, no couple, no relationship, love will not keep it. Only Jesus Christ can keep a relationship going. We are human and we will fail, we will mess up, and no human, regardless of how much you love that person, could withstand the pressures of life. Okay? Only Jesus, the one that people don't want, will keep a marriage. It's not love. Love does not keep a marriage, people. Love is an emotion. It goes and it comes. Sometimes I love my kids, sometimes I don't. Sometimes they love me, sometimes they don't. So what's going to happen when the don't moment comes? It's only Jesus who can help us in I don't feel like loving you today. Because when you fear God, you realize that God is the one that put you together. And anything else that will separate it going to cause him to grieve. Because marriage is forever. Until death do us part.
Yep, my mic was on mute. Sorry, my mic ended up on mute. People throw around the word love so easily, and recognizing that to love somebody unconditionally, it is not an easy task. And you can feel like loving somebody today and not feel like loving somebody tomorrow. So I thank you for that word. And as we talk about love, raising four daughters is four different personalities. What was it like to raise four girls in one house?
Well,
Four strong-willed women that
for
are now
sure.
women in it. How was that for you?
I must say, in my case, my husband stood with me.
Hmm.
Even he may not have agreed with me. So sometimes they may come home, one may say, Mom, I got invited XY place, can I go? I, because of who I am, will always say, I don't think so. They will go to dad behind mom's back and they will say, Dad, can I go? Dad will say, Did you ask
Hey,
mommy?
mom.
Yes, mommy said no. Can I go, Dad? Dad will say, Well, if mommy said no, it's no. Then when we get into the bedroom, Dad will say to me, June, I really didn't see anything wrong in them going. You
Yes.
know, I will say, but I just felt like it was not a good decision. And he's fine with that. So the next time that comes into our pathway, I've already had in my head, he didn't think it wasn't bad. So now I'm going to think deeper with why I said no, why he didn't think it wasn't a bad idea, and then we work the system around. But he stood with me through thick or thin, whether he agreed or whether he didn't agree. He stood with me, and my word, because mommy is the heart of the home,
Yes.
always got the first word.
That right there is a nugget. And that is also, it reminded me of when I think of my grandparents, that when they came out together, they came with one voice. Even if in the bedroom, they had a different conversation. And that to me is where the rubber meets the road, and couples need to understand that you can't come out battling in front of each other. You have to come as one unit, and then you go back and deal with it, and respecting each other. You spoke about respect, you spoke about values, you spoke of it. Just in just that example alone, you gave so much wisdom. And when I think of the wisdom that you gave there, and I go back to the book, now, people, I'm talking about grown up conversations. If you can't handle the heat right now, it's going to get a little hotter. Take off a layer, get a fan, get a glass of cold water, get some coconut water if you like. Um, you know, Marjorie saying awesome solidarity. Mommy is the heart of the home. Tina Marie Williams, here we are, we're talking here. So now you understand where we're going. Respect was always there, and partnerships. Now remember this, people. We are about to go a little deeper. Are you ready? Now, the first chapter in this book that's made me stop, look, and listen. Let's talk about stop, look, and listen, because I know this is a chapter that means a lot to you. Take it away, June.
Okay, I'm reading from my book, Stop, Look, and Listen. Stop, look, and listen. Use your eyes, use your ears, and then use your feet. I'm dropping down to about the third paragraph now. How critical these rules are to real life as we head out to find true love as adults. We are no longer children crossing a busy street. We are adults making important life decisions that can have lasting effects on us and our generations to follow. Stop, listen to your heart, hear what it is saying, use your brain. Then, when it's safe, walk. Do not run into making a lifetime commitment with anyone before considering all the facts. Have you ever heard the device? Sorry, have you ever heard the advice? Don't go grocery shopping when you are hungry. If you go shopping around for love on an underfed love tank, it's likely you will suffer from emotional eating, which makes you increase your baggage weight. It is no fun getting into a relationship that produces mental, physical, and or emotional abuse, and consequently living with tons of regret for the rest of your life. Don't go shopping for love when you're either hungry or lonely. Teenagers, young adults, middle aged, and seniors jump into the first relationship they find as soon as they feel lonely, sad, anxious, or on a rebound. And many times it's not the right relationship. This is never a great idea, my friends. It's better to be alone by choice than to end up having to be painfully tied to a dysfunctional person without a choice. I'm dropping down to a couple paragraphs. Your worth is far above rubies. If you rush into a relationship because of loneliness, rebound, or unfed emotions, you will find yourself sitting on a shelf in the basement of a discount store waiting for a buyer. Your worth is far above rubies, so stop settling for less. Refuse to allow lust, a strong desire for sex, fear of loneliness, panic because you are not in a relationship, anxiety, worry about your tomorrows, or whatever drive you into running into the arms of the wrong person. That demonstrates a lack of good sense and is a bad judgment call. It is far better to stay single than to mingle and get damaged. Stop, look, listen. Use your eyes, use your ears, and then use your feet.
I love this. I love this. I love this. Listen, rubies. Listen, anybody out there, like the hearts are going up. Put it in the comments. Let's see the comments. I know some people are ready. Yes, don't be looking for love when you're hungry. It's like going to the grocery store when you're hungry. You end up picking up things that are not good for you. Yes, your worth is far above rubies. This is what I'm telling you, people. This book is like a ruby. It's even better than a ruby. Use your eyes, use your ears, and then use your feet. Come on now. The love hearts are going up, June. And I'm telling you, people, this book is this book is right next to my Bible. I'm just letting you know. It's for me personally because it's such a wisdom key. And you can see the insight and you can see that you were just getting poured into, and that's just what now this what you guys just heard was from just 2 pages in the book. This wasn't a long thing. This was just 2 pages in the book. So I encourage you, anyone, because this is food for your soul that will grab you, and you got a lot right there in terms of relationship. So, June, how did you even get the title Grown Up Conversations?
It came from the scripture in, I think it was First Corinthians. When I was a child, I thought as a child, I behaved like a child. And when I became an adult, I put away childish behavior. So it goes back to us when we were young, we throw tantrums. When you grow up, you deal with life.
Mm,
The book Grown Up Conversations is prepared for people who are ready to step out of their childish behavior and become a grown up. We've got one life, and our birthdays tell us exactly how old we are. And if we keep waiting for that time to change and to grow up, we will miss the window of growth. Every day we learn, we grow. And
mm,
every time we grow, we put away childish behavior. We stop throwing tantrums. Yes, we have sour things that happen to us. Yes, we have bad things. Stop repeating the cycle.
mm.
Not because grandma had broken marriages and mommy had broken relationships, I should have a broken relationship too. It's a matter of us saying to ourselves, the madness stop at me. It's not continuing. Somebody's got to take a stand and say, I am a grown up now. And it's time for all of us to take that responsibility and grow up. Don't tell me you're 40 years and I have to question whether you're 40 years. If
Mm.
you're 40 years, start acting like a grown up, right? Life is short. And we cannot keep crying over spilled relationships, marriages, milk, whatever it is. It happens to everybody. What are we going to
Right,
do? Talk
right,
about
right.
it all the time? We don't need counseling anymore. We need to get into the Word of God and stand on God's Word. No more counseling, no more psychologists, no more, my friend is telling me to drop him and get another man. The other man going to have the same issues. The healing starts within you, not in the man that you're going to meet tomorrow night. You know? So I really want people to understand my passion when I do my videos. Come out of this. I want us to grow together. I am not speaking as though I have accomplished everything, but together we can do it. So I am not a preacher. I am not a minister. I am not a pastor. I am a mother, grandmother, wife, 66 years who have gone through class of, doing stuff and
Mhm.
saying, listen, I've learned the lessons. Let me help you to make life nicer for you and your children.
I love that. And what you've clearly shown there is that your foundation is in God, and
Of
that
course.
this, your belief system and your faith, is that you are not a religious person, you're a person who has a relationship. And I think that's what sets you apart. And it's important for people to understand that this comes out of relationship, and June is really speaking from her heart, and it's a truth that she believes because you live it, you know it, and you speak it every day, and it is in your written word. And I know one of the things that you mentioned in your book was um, that the next leg of your journey requires vision, where you know your worth and know your value of holding your own pen. What did you mean when you said that?
Every day I am evolving. So the person my siblings know me to be when I was 7, 8, 18, 26, 35, 40, 50, I am not that same Jude. And every day I am evolving. Who I was last week, I may not be that person today. I expect to grow. My lovely palm trees behind me, if I see they are not growing, I go get food for them. They are important to me. And it's the same thing with me. If I am not growing, I've got to figure out what is happening. Why am I so sad? Why am I anxious? I ask myself questions. I must evolve. I must not stay one way because Tom knows me that way or Jane knows me that way. I am evolving, and I am proud to say to who I am today. I was not this way 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I would hate to be the same person I was 20 years ago. I would absolutely hate it. I don't even have clothes 20 years ago. So why would I, as a person, want to be who I was 20 years ago?
I love that, June. And I tell you, it's the knowledge that comes out of this book. And there was a part where you talked about um, being teachable. And for me, that's, when I speak about victory and living a life of victory, that's the why: yielding to the process, being humble, because you can't be teachable if you think you know everything. And when I was reading on page 24, you said watching someone who doesn't have personal boundaries is like watching a very sad movie playing out in real time, and the ending, it's surreal. It's painful to watch, but this time it's not a movie, it's real life. There's a lot of nail biting and shutting out of eye moments as mistakes are repeated and they are unreachable. It's just a matter of time before tragedy takes place. Why is it important for us to put boundaries in place? And how can we even put those boundaries in place? Because I remember, and I can speak for myself, and I'm guilty. I was guilty about not putting boundaries in place or even knowing how to put those boundaries in place. So I asked for myself because I learning too.
Yeah, it's important for us to set boundaries. The reason is that my old friends must see the new June, and the new June does not match who you knew me to be. And I am the one that is responsible for making sure that my old friends know the new June.
Mm,
So I've got to set boundaries for myself. The jokes I laughed at last year, I'm not laughing at it anymore. Who I was last year, I'm not that person anymore. So they don't know. But
right.
when I have my boundaries, they come back and they meet things in place and they say, wow, she's changed. I'm happy to say I have changed because change is important.
And it's inevitable. It must happen.
Yeah, and I love setting boundaries. I can be your friend, and if you overstep it, I'll let you know that you overstep it. I'm not just going to sit down and be passive about it. Okay, I'm still your friend, I still love you, but if you were rude to me, I'll let you know that
Mhm.
that was very unkind what you just said, right? So some people think that because you're a Christian, you tolerate everything. No, I'm a Christian that have boundaries.
Yes.
Love you, but I have boundaries. I have boundaries, and I'm very proud of my boundary line because it means to say you can't just walk in and out of my life. Okay, you did it once, you did it twice. I've got boundaries. The third time, you're not coming back in. Like, really, my boundaries went up. And I think all of us as human beings should find that within ourselves the pride of having boundaries.
So how do you balance boundaries with forgiveness? Because you talk about somebody, coming in once, coming in twice, but you want to have those boundaries. So you have to manage your forgiveness with boundaries. How do you do that?
Okay, I can forgive you. I would pick up your call. I would be nice. If it's your birthday, I'll send you a happy birthday. If I find an old picture of you, I'll send it to you. No strings attached.
Right.
But at the same time, I would not, the Bible talk about even if you see your enemy's donkey in a pit, you don't walk away and leave it in a pit. You help it up. And that's pretty much like relationships. You can set boundaries, and not because you're no longer friends with the person. You mean you see them struggling and you wouldn't help them, or you see that you have something that they can do, they can use. I will still do it. It's not a matter of me holding them in my heart, or some people use this word karma, which I totally don't like. But what I can do is to make sure that you're not coming back again to ask me to borrow money. Okay, the
Right.
last times I lent you money, you promised me you would return it, you will give it back to me. I'm not doing it again. Like, really, I'll pray with you, God bless you, and pray that God meet your need.
It's learning the lesson. So basically, what I am hearing is you have to learn the lesson, and you just don't allow the person to continue to compete, continue mistreating you and putting up those boundaries that you need to put up. But you can still be kind, you can still be loving. But this is how far you go in my life now. You can't come into my life the way that you came into my life. I love that. Loving from a distance, says Tina Marie. Yes, loving from a distance. And in the book, you also talk about there's this chapter, Bold and the Beautiful. And, for some of us, we love that soap opera, The Bold and the Beautiful. But in this one, you really spoke about women. And you spoke about how, as women, we need to learn how to not compete against each other. And that was on page 28. I'm telling you, I'm just in the beginning of the book, y'all. And y'all are wondering what's happening because this book is a gem. And I have learned so much from June, not just listening to her on her social media and the posts that she put up, but just reading those nuggets. You can take, like for me, one chapter could literally take you a month to go through because you have so much to learn and you can write so much in it. It is not a book that you're going to run through like it's a novel. It is really one of those things that makes you sailor and pause. And, we as women can sometimes love to compete against each other. We can stay in a victim mode. But how should women treat each other? How should we inspire each other? What is your advice for women?
My advice for women is competition is not for us.
Hmm.
We have dog shows at a competition. We have talent shows at a competition, but we are supposed to cheer each other on, right? We are supposed to treat our women friends the way we want to see a man treat them. You don't
Hey,
you don't make joke if a man says something that's rude to your girlfriend. You're not supposed to laugh at that. You're
hmm,
supposed to let him know, hey man, you were rude and I don't appreciate it. Speak up for the voiceless, right?
yes,
Many times we laugh because we are uncomfortable. We need to step out of being uncomfortable and be bold. Defend our women friends. We
yes,
are each other's keeper. You know that someone is being abused by their spouse, it's not okay. You speak up, right? And the times we are living in, we are seeing so many women that are being murdered and
mm,
battered and have to run with their kids without anything. We
yes,
are each other's keeper. No one is winning unless everybody is winning. We've got to make sure everybody is winning. I always love looking out for the weakest person, not the person with the loudest voice because they are right behind me. I
mm,
want to get behind that person and see the other person that I'm not hearing their voice. So
mm,
I
mm,
make sure even on my comments when I do my videos on the morning, I look at
mm,
those who want to say something but they don't know if they're right or if they're wrong. So I now feed off of that and I would fill it up with something that they could leave and go with. I am not concerned with who has the loudest voice because they are doing well. Is somebody who is lame, somebody who is not sure of themselves. I look out for the person without a voice because that's what my life is about. I want to be the voice for the voiceless.
yes. And you see the comments coming in, and this is what I'm speaking about too, because if we're not that voice for the voiceless, how can we come together as one? How can we really? Because I am not just my sister's keeper; I am my sister. And we say all these things but we won't move into action. So I thank you for those rich sound words and thinking. And there's another thing you said. I'm telling you, I went through this book no, I was writing in the book, I highlight in the book, I bend the book. I listen, I didn't have enough bookmarkers to put in the book. Listen, it's my book is a mess, so nobody come and get your own book. And I'm just telling you, if Mother's Day is coming up next month, I am making sure that everyone has time to buy one for their sister, their auntie, their friend, their nenen, their whoever it is. Whatever it is you need to do, you need to get this book because I think it has so many wisdom keys for no matter what part in the life that you are in. Um, you said there's only one thing you can do about your past. Make it a stepping stone and write the chapter into your book. That just made me just go like, what? There's only one thing you can do about your past. Make it a stepping stone and write the chapter into your book.
And
Why?
that's the heart of grown-up conversation.
Mm,
Close the chapter that has the most painful memories, and let's write a new chapter. Make lemonade. Women are makers. We can make ice cream. Joan is always making all sorts.
Girl,
The latest one was
avocado.
avocado.
I had some. It was
I
good.
could have
It was
eaten the
good.
avocado. Keep the ice cream, give me the avocado.
Girl, you would love the avocado ice cream. It was like eating coconut ice cream. Trust me, you would love
Yeah,
the avocado
but
ice
that's
cream.
what I'm saying. When life gives you lemon, make lemonade. Who
Mhm.
ever thought about making avocado ice cream? So, in other words, if you have avocados and you need to get rid of, make ice cream. If you have,
Yes,
make lemonade. You write a new chapter. Stop rehearsing the same chapter. How can I live without the man? Oh, let's talk about how bad men are. I do not like conversations like that. I
mm,
run them because
yes.
those are outdated chapters. We need to write new chapters. Tell me what you're doing to blossom. Tell me what you're doing to to develop. Like, let's move on. Let the man look for you where he left you and couldn't find you and said, "My word, look what she went, look where she reached." Like, shock him, surprise him, give him something to talk instead of you talking about it.
I love that. That is a Selah moment because you don't have to get nasty. You just have to be you and come into your own self, find your identity, and be yourself. I love. Okay, there's a question for you, Joan. June, I'm calling you Joan. Lord have mercy. Wendy says, "How long did it take for June to write your book?"
Wendy, 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 my sweetheart. Now, in 2015, my last daughter had already left home and I was without children in the home. And I asked God, I said, "God, is this all there is to my life?" And God said, "No, you can write."
Mm,
And I was like, "Okay, I can write." So I called my daughter and I said, "Get me on a online website. I'm going to write." So I started to write in 2015, and in 2019, December, so I was writing blogs every day on www.junedoyle.me. I wrote every day from 2015 until 2019, and I made an accumulation of my blogs, put it into a book. My book doesn't have an index. My book don't have anything. You open the book in any chapter and you can read it. I believe my book is so powerful. You didn't need to see an index in the front, page number 19 or page number 20 have this chapter. Any morning you get up, you open the book and you read. You do not have to read cover to cover. My book is a daily inspiration, and it took
mhm.
from 2015. Now, this is only a few of it. I have thousands of blogs. But my book only has an accumulation, maybe about 120 of my blogs, if so many. So
Wow.
I write every single day. I write.
So
So
we have many books to look forward to. So what made
I
you like? Because
know.
you talk about writing so far back. How did you not quit? What is your thinking behind not being able to quit?
I believe that when God gives you a passion, the passion supersedes your human ability. Like my husband will tell you, I don't go to bed early. I write in the night. Why do I write in the night? Because the phone is ringing, nobody's calling me, he's asleep, I'm alone in this world, and this is the time when everything flows out of me without an
Yes.
if I write in the day and the phone ring, it distracts me. So I write in the wee hours of the morning and I sleep until late morning and then I get up and write again. I'm not so rigid again because it's flowing now, but
Yeah.
I'm very consistent and I'm very dedicated and I'm purpose driven. So nothing is a chore for me. I just love writing.
Well, you could definitely tell that. Wendy's teasing me here. She goes, Nicole wants me to write a book. Yes, you need to write a book, Wendy Jones. There are quite a few of you here. You know what people don't realize is everybody has a story, and
Everybody.
someone can glean from your story. Someone needs your story to continue to live. Some, you never know. That one word you say to somebody, that I love you, that smile, that random acts of kindness, that one thing could change the trajectory of a person's life, and then it affects generations because you don't know who they're going to speak to, who they're going to impact. So, Wendy Jones, write the book. June is backing me right here. June, wait a second. Tell us a fun fact about June that nobody else knows.
What's the fun fact about me? I love shopping. Put me in a mall and you don't call me, I'm good. I love to eat out. I love nice restaurants. I love to dine out. I love to go on vacations. I love resorts. I love anything that will make me be re-energized, to love myself, to breathe fresh air away from the stress of everyday life. That's who I am.
And that right there, you told me about your self care. Right there, you told me about your self care. And even when you talked about starting your morning and how you like to write at night, I'm a night owl myself. I find the quietest time is at night. I love it. I love it. I love it. Are there any favorite quotes or philosophies or mottos that you live by that just ground you?
The one that I liked, I wrote it down. Now I can't find the page, but it had to do with, you look a challenge straight in the eye and you give it a wink. I really like that because we all have challenges. And we must be able to look at challenges and give it a wink rather than running away
Mm,
from it. Because when you run away from a challenge, it was designed for you. So you're going to meet it again somewhere not too far. So the best thing to do is to face it and deal with it. That is why some people become alcoholics. They run away from challenges. So they take a drink and they take another drink and they forget it for the moment. But when that drink wear off, the
yes.
challenge is still waiting there. So we need to learn to watch the challenge, face it, and that's why we need God. Because you really cannot do life without God. I don't know who think I'm corny. I don't know who think that I'm too spiritual. But really and truly, I sleep well at night in spite of me writing. I do sleep. Now I don't write so late. Now I just post at midnight and I go fast asleep. I have a good night rest. But really, you can't do life without God. You really
I
can't.
and I love that. And I love how you so solid in your convictions because some people just can't be solid in their conviction. Um, Sarah Oyango in Ottawa says, this lady is absolutely fabulous. Esther says, love her interactions with all her readers. We can't live life without God. Amen. So, June, what does victory look like to you?
Victory looks like to me that I may not see the entire staircase that God is leading me to, but I need to take that first step and trust Him that my faith in Him will know that I will eventually get to where I belong. And that's exactly what happened with my book. If anyone had told me in early 2019 that I
Yeah.
will write a book, I would tell them no. But God ordained it. He ordered it. I did not know that I would have gotten the book with the date that I wanted to publish it. So I stepped out. COVID came in, shut down my publishers. There was like nothing happening. But God, I got my book in time for my 65th birthday. It launched because God saw that I trusted Him. I made the first step and
Yes.
I said, I am going to publish my book. I'm going to get my name for my book and I'm going to get my date for my book. So June 26, 2021 will be 1 year since I had my first book. So please stop asking me to make another baby. I just had a baby. It's not even a year old.
Well, the baby's growing up fast. The baby is growing up fast. And I love how the baby's growing up. And you really just spoke about when you write a vision, you get the vision, you write the vision down. and you see it. And many people talk about affirmations, and one of the things one of my great coaches does, Coach Danny Stone, he always says, when you do the affirmation, you have to see it. You have to see it till the end. Sometimes feel yourself in the moment of that dream, what it looks like. But and you wrote the date down, and you put things in place even though you did not know if it was going to come to pass, but you knew this is what you felt in your being, in your spirit, and you walked with it. So anybody on live and on the replay, if you have a vision, if you have a dream, and you've put it down, even in the midst of COVID-19, pandemic, no pandemic, volcano, no volcano, whatever it is, everybody is going through a different part in their lives. And no matter how strong you are, everybody's going through. This whole world is stretching everybody. It is stretching our capacity, and we have to find the perspective, and through the pain we have to find the purpose. And I love that you find that victory moment in your life. If you were to reflect, June, what would you say, what would you want your legacy to be known for?
That's a $1 million question. I want my legacy to be I was a woman that did not quit.
Mm,
I have enough things in my life to make me quit, but I keep going because when you keep going, the things that was meant to make you quit becomes invisible. It suddenly becomes diminished because
yes,
what you're doing, your dream is bigger than the things that are keeping you back, you know?
yes,
So you've got to like blossom till you can see the things that are coming in your pathway to keep you from going. If you don't do anything, the fear and the things that will make you want to quit is going to grow. Something has to grow. So
right.
it's either you let your legacy grow or you let the things that troubling you and the challenges that you have grow. I don't want my challenges to grow. I want my legacy to grow. So deal
I
with it.
want my challenges to grow. I want my legacy to grow. Okay, that I think I have so now we need some affirmation cards from June Doyle. I will put you onto a friend, because let me tell you, that's the next piece. We need the affirmation cards, we need the bookmarks, we need things that people can take with them, that they could walk around and speak it to themselves. And if I would encourage you, even if you have the book, take the things out of it, write it down in one spot so that you can go back and personalize it for yourself and see how this can apply to your life. Because sometimes we just read books like this and just, oh, it was nice. But no, this is applications. This is like putting on lotion in the morning. This is like, drinking your cup of coffee. This is something, this is food for your soul. This is like water for your soul. I'm just saying. Now, June, what would you say to yourself, your younger self? Say maybe your 30-year-old self. Well, no, let's go 33. Let's go 33. Let's do half of 66. Let's do 33. What would you say to your younger self? Now, if you want to go way younger, in a time where you were like, hmm, what would you say to your younger self in a time when you just didn't know something? Something was just off. You were
This
troubled.
too will pass.
Mm,
This too will pass.
hmm.
If you tell yourself in any stage in your life that this too will pass, it will give you the courage to keep moving on. So this too will pass. It's 3 words, but it's very, very, very significant. Nothing in life stays the same. Everything has an expiry date. Even the volcano in St. Vincent has an expiry date. We don't know when, but there is an expiry date. And our lives can very much feel like a volcano, but it has an expiry date.
Hmm.
So this too will pass.
I love it. I love it, June. I'm going to read some of the comments here. The first step is so essential, faith and your step in God. Write the vision down. Shirley Joseph goes, this conversation is on fire. Thank you. Thank you, Shirley. Oh, Rob says, Auntie June, so proud of you. Love you to a million pieces. Let your legacy grow. Something has to grow. Great conversation. Thank you. I mean, they're loving it, June. They're loving it. This too will pass. And that is so, so important. This is such a rich conversation. Now, I just want to go back to the before we wind down. Is there what else would you like to share? about grown up conversations because people, we are having a grown up conversation tonight with Trailblazer legend because she's a legend. And if you don't know it, you know it now. If you didn't know it before, now you know it. Now you should treat her with a lot more love. Give her flowers. And if you're in Trinidad, send her some flowers. If you're in Toronto, if you're in New York, if you're in Mozambique, there's a thing called, you know what, FTD flowers. Send her some flowers. Send her some love. Go on her blog. Go on her Instagram. Follow her. You know, grown up conversations. These are the conversations we need to have with ourselves. These are the conversations we need to have with our friends, our loved ones. For those of who weren't able to tune in tonight live, share it with those so they can see it on the replay. You have no excuse to not find June tonight. I'm just telling you. And have a grown up conversation. And what the grown up conversation do you need to have with yourself? Because sometimes we need to have a grown up conversation with ourselves and reevaluate our lives. Do you take a time in your life, June, where you just stop and reevaluate where you're at?
I do. And, I just want to be able to leave this world whenever my time is up with nothing remaining in me. I want
Mm,
to be able to pour everything that I have out. It's like when you're going away, you want to make sure and clean your fridge out. I
yes.
want when I am going away permanently that I'm leaving with nothing inside of me. No hurt, no pain, no anxiety, no sadness, no inspirational talk, no motivational talk, no quote. I just want when my time expires, I want this shell to be empty.
Yes.
Want it
Yes.
to be empty. I can't take it with me, so I want to empty it out.
A beautiful shadow will be. Joan goes, you fill us with so much hope. Thank you, June. That was from Joan.
Thanks, John.
So, what
Thanks,
else
John.
would you like to say about from grown up conversations before
Sorry.
what else? Is there anything else you would love to share with our listeners? Those, and everybody who's taken time and live and on the replay to listen. What would you like to say to anyone else who is listening?
One final thought that came through my mind was every day, when I'm praying, I ask God to visit every room in my mind, wherever there's hurt, wherever there's rejection, wherever there's pain, wherever there's anxiety, to visit it, take it out, clean it up, and don't leave it within me. Because hurting people hurt
Hurt
others.
people.
We cannot walk around with baggages and expect to be nice to people. We need to clean ourselves out in God's presence. Only God can do it. And ask God to clean us of all our hurts, all our disappointments, all our rejections, all our pain, whatever it is, and just live life, full and with no regrets.
I love that. I love that. I'm going to give you a few more comments. And these ones, Rob is saying she has grown up conversations because she had a ton of practice dealing with me all my life.
That's my nephew.
Christine said, so proud of this amazing woman. I'm so grateful to be the recipient of her immense wisdom. Thank you, Sis June.
Thank you,
Trisha,
Christine.
Trisha is here. Trisha says, great conversation. See, you'd be surprised at who's listening. Sometimes they like to stay in the background hidden. Yasmin says, thank you, June, for the inspiration and thanks. Thank you for hosting me.
Oh,
It's an honor to
thank
host.
you,
It is my joy to be a conduit
Thanks,
to be
Judith.
here. Judith is excellent as usual.
Thank you.
Clean out the pain, hurt, and rejection. God is able. Yes, He is. And so, June, I have two more questions for you. 20 years from now, as you look back on your life, what do you think would matter to you most as you look back 20 years from now?
Hmm. What do I think will matter most? 20 years. Ooh. That I did not remain the same.
Mm,
Like the fact that I have grown leaps and boundaries over the last 20 years, leaps and bounds, because I would not have liked myself when I was young. Some people don't want to grow old. Some
mhm.
people want to go back and be 18. I do not want to be 18. I do not want to be 25. I love being 67. I
Yes.
want to go back to 20 years. I want my life now. I love my life now more than I loved my life 20 years ago.
You know what? And that is so good because it gives people hope. And I never even understood it, even when, I mean, I'm still not there yet. But when I crossed the 50 mark, I was like, listen, I'm half a century years old. I could say anything I want now. I could do anything I want. Too bad for you all. No, I have a special compliment coming up here. Look at this one. Look at this one. I love you, mommy. I love you, mommy. I love it. May you just continue to shine, Doyle. Loving you so much.
Yes. Hi, Eddie.
I agree with June. My younger self was a mess, a hot mess. Let me tell you. Actually, when I think about my younger self, let me don't give myself up. When I was my younger self, I thought I was all that in a bag of chips. At 18, weighing 100 pounds, even before then, I think I had more confidence in myself as a younger person than I have now. I think the noise got into my head in my 30s. And now that I'm coming back to me in my 50s, it's such a journey because people think that, your purpose is just one thing, you're going to just be the same way. You have to go back and really review life and learn from your lessons and have those people that will really build you up and lift you up. And I love that part in the book, especially for the women on the line, build each other up. And for the men, please start talking to one another, share with one another, nurture one another, mentor each other. Because listen, if you have a son, he's going to be somebody's husband. If you have a daughter, she's going to be somebody's wife. So we have to think in those terminologies. I'm totally enjoying this conversation. I really don't want it to end. But what's next for you, June?
What's next for me? For now, if you ask me what I'm writing next week, I wouldn't know.
Right.
I live one day at a time, and that day happens to be the best day of my life. And that's how I live. I just enjoy the moment. I don't have any future plans per se that I need to write a date in it. I'm just at the stage where I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. I love Facebook. I love Facebook. I love Facebook. People say they don't like Facebook. I love Facebook. I love meeting all my friends. I love speaking to people. I love loving them. I love to hear their conversations. They give me life. They really do give me life. Some make me cry with love. Some make me preach to them. Some make me take out my whip. But I love the communication on Facebook more than I love Instagram. I just post on Instagram but I love Facebook. I love the communication.
There's a different type of interaction. Totally, there is. And before we wind up tonight, I wanted to share this passage from June's book. I'm surprising her with this one. I love Born to Win. Like Born to Win, I think I highlighted every other line and I was like, oh gosh, what can I share? You know, we can either choose to look at ourselves as a victim of circumstance or choose to prove we can overcome every impediment that was set in our pathway. There's another part she goes on to. No one gets the pleasure of handpicking their encounters in life. We simply get what we've been given with no options to exchange. Keep one goal in mind. We must be intentional to succeed. Whatever your portion in life may be, think of it as a passport to the world. How you use what's in your hand will determine whether you win or lose your slice of life. Your bad hand doesn't have to define you. You may have to skip a day or a year due to weighty issues of life, but never count yourself out. It's okay to pause for a worthy cause, but it's never okay to quit. All sickness doesn't lead to death. Some sicknesses are designed to show God's incredible powers and to give Him the glory. There's only one thing you can do about your past: make it a stepping stone and write the chapter into your book. If you forget your past, you will forget how God delivered you. Your past is an important part of you, who you are today, and who you will become tomorrow. As you increase in confidence, your value goes up and life gets brighter. Quitting will never be an option. Now, here's the last part I'm going to leave you with. Sit in the class and then walk out with class. You cannot change what you are not willing to confront. Accept it as a credit to your future. Some lessons in life can only be learned while on the job. Don't let one bad year keep you stuck where you don't belong. You rested, but you didn't quit. You are still standing. Be brave. Be kind. Dream big. Think happy thoughts. Give your current life a wink. Your future depends on your next move. June Doyle. If you don't have the book, Grown Up Conversations, now you know why you need to get Grown Up Conversations by June Doyle. I wasn't reading from my tablet. Now, there are books now that I buy and I just have on my tablet. This is one book I was so glad that I might still get the e copy. You know why? I might even get the e copy because when I want to highlight and put a take it from the e-copy and put it in my devotional pad, I might have to just get the e-copy for that. I'm just saying. I'm going to leave you with the last two comments. Rob, she has the biggest heart, loves the most, and always tells you with honesty. The most selfless person you will ever meet, my auntie. Chrissy,
Oh,
with a thank you, Chrissy. What a great life, Nicole. Thank you so much for this awesome session. Junie, were amazing. Blessings to you both.
after who she calling June?
I know. Don't worry. I know. Don't worry. I had to read it like that. But for those of you who don't know who Chrissy is one of the four phenomenal women that June has raised in this grown up conversation. And Chrissy is going to be my guest next week. So you better tune in because she is another supercalifragilisticexpialidocious woman. June, it has been such a pleasure having you on here. It is time for you guys to go and get the book. And I want to leave you with this thought as we wind down the conversation. And I don't have these conversations by accident. We have left you with a lot of tools tonight. And when you think of victory, and June used actually so much in the victory formula in her own life, it has even for me been a time of confirmation. Be a visionary. There is a vision that you have. Create a personal one for yourself, for your wellness, for your health, for your well being. Be intentional on how you will achieve your vision. And remember, you have to cultivate your vision. It has to grow. So you yourself you have to water it with whatever it needs. And it's part of your transformation. Get ready to be transformed, no matter what age it is. And June spoke of it so highly. No matter what age, you can be transformed. And along the way, be happy for yourself. Give yourself some ovation. Clap yourself. And if nobody's going to clap for you, don't worry about it. You just clap for yourself. And this is a part of restoration and self care. This whole part that we've been talking about tonight, you have to be restored so you can be your best self. And in order to do this, you have to yield to the process. You have to be humble. Victory is your portion, everyone. You are in the revolution of minding your mind and enhancing your mindset so you can continue to live a victorious lifestyle. For you who don't know me, live and on the replay, hopefully you know me by now. You've met June. I am Nicole Waldron, your mental fitness coach and your voice of victory. I invite you to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Victory Speaks 7. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is going to be on the YouTube channel so you can send it to your friends. It's going to be on our Facebook page, Victory Speaks 77, depending on where you're listening to. And also, the podcast is on Apple, it's on Spotify, it's on Anchor, and it's Victory Speaks. If you're on Clubhouse, conversations are happening there. And every other Thursday, I'm having conversations with the Black Canadian content creators. We're having some really deep conversations. Last week, we spoke to a young woman about being inclusive from the deaf community and hard of hearing, and how can we make sure that we are inclusive in our daily walk with them, in having them in our events. So there's so much going on in the world, people. Remember, love is in the details. Remember to love the ones you're with. It takes nothing to show someone love. It is nothing to have an inspired conversation with others. Remember that it even start with a smile, even behind the mask. Have a smile on. Every day, seek to have an inspired conversation with someone you love, someone you meet today. And remember, stand in the truth of who you are. Be inspired by your own story, your own love story, and may you see the victory in your week and in every moment. June, I am so happy that you were here. Thank you for coming on. It was a grown up, inspired conversation. You are a trailblazer. You are a legend in the now. Many are giving you their flowers. Many are giving you a love and respect because we honor you. And if I was there, listen, when we get some sponsors for this show, people will be coming in giving you a bouquet of flowers live and on stage. Let me tell you, you deserve it. You deserve it. So thank you so much for coming in. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Be sure to share this with your friends and loved ones. Champions of love. And listen, thank you, Wendy, for Champions of Love of saying that. On Wednesday, I'm going to have Jason Faulkner on here, and his company is about spreading love. Wellness Wednesdays, we are spreading love, and we are going to be talking about love in another way. And he is doing it through his line. He's an educator, he's a motivator, but his message is love, and he spreads love in everything that he does. So tune in on Wednesday at 8 o'clock live and on the replay. We're out. We love you. Thank you for giving June her flowers tonight. Thank you for tuning in. We love and appreciate you. Take care and God bless.